And welcome inside of Hawk Nation. This is episode 2. I want to thank all the listeners for all the feedback and all the listens last week. We are totally blown away by the feedback and support that we received. I'm Tom Sears. Joining me tonight, Danny Knight. And Danny, I know you're excited as well about all the feedback and positive thoughts coming our way from Hawk Nation.
Just a great response this week from last week's episode. And, we felt like this is a great thing that we're doing, and we've talked about it for years. And we felt like it was just a great idea, but the response has really, I think, overwhelmed us and even surprised us. We thought it might take a little bit more time, but people are enjoying it, and that's what we want. And it's just the beginning. It'll get better and better. Yeah,
that's definitely the goal, to make it better and better. And again, the goal of this podcast is to bring you all things South Harrison, and we do not want it lost in the mix that we want to cover more than just athletics. Although last week was about athletics and this week's mostly about athletics, we will be working to get into the other aspects of not only the schools, but the community in which the schools serve. I think it's a great way to reach out and just let people know what's happening in Hawk Nation.
No doubt. And we mentioned it last week. If you know of things maybe we don't know or things we haven't heard, let us know. Give us feedback. We're not going to catch everything or know about everything that happens. But if you help us with that, we'll talk about it and we'll report it.
Well, you and I both were very, very busy this week and trying to just track everyone down. And I want to say that I tried on a couple different occasions to speak to a couple different people outside of the athletic realm and was unsuccessful. But we're working on pinning those things down moving forward into next week. But obviously on everyone's mind right now, Danny, is the fact that South Harrison's going to open up its football season a week from tonight.
That's so exciting. I love football season, and the fact that we're on the brink of that it gets me pumped up. And of course, everyone cannot wait for South Harrison football to kick off. Doddridge County coming to town. They're a good football team this year. It's usually a good game every year, but I expect this year's game to be very tightly contested. So it should be a very exciting start to what I think is going to be an exciting season.
Also happening this evening, the South Harrison boys and girls soccer teams are playing, opening up their season as well. So there's a lot happening on the campus of South Harrison High School. And I had an opportunity I caught up actually today with Coach Underwood, the head football coach at South Harrison, and he let us in on a little secret. He's being very guarded, and that's the word I'll use, very guarded, as it pertains to some of the things that's happening with the football team. I totally get it. I totally understand it. But Danny, I was able to track him down, and during the interview, and folks, you don't want to miss the interview. It's just a short little interview. We touch base with him after the scrimmage, but he lets us know who the likely week 1 starter is at the quarterback position.
That's good. That's the big question that I've had, we've had. I think a lot of people do, and so that'll be really intriguing to get that information, and it'll give us something to look forward to. And like you say, he's kind of guarded. I think that's good. When you're guarded, it's because you have something to guard. So I think he has some good information, probably some good things that he's excited about, looking forward to. So I can't wait to hear about it and see the product on the field next week.
Yeah, everyone around this time of year is just like filled with anticipation because, let's be honest, and I don't coach football and you don't coach football, though you've been a part of it in the past. I also get very excited around this time of year. There just seems to be nothing like the Friday night lights and that cool summer air coming in as fall's making its way into the area and football kicks off. To me, there's nothing like it.
I totally agree. And I tell you, when it comes to this time of the year, I honestly can smell football. I was telling my son that the other day. I was like, man, I can smell it for the first time. It's football season. And I get that smell and like the adrenaline starts pumping and I get excited. And that Friday night with the band playing and the lights on, and man, we're close. I can't wait.
Yeah, we are so close that you can almost, you mentioned smell it, but you can almost taste it. So close. Now, one of the big things, Danny, that's happening the evening of the opener is the tailgate party, the kickoff that boosters, South Harrison High School athletic boosters, are putting on, and all the sports will have an opportunity to be involved. So we would, again, just want to encourage all the listeners and all of Hawk Nation to get out and take part in that. And Danny, also, you've had a pretty busy last week with golf. Give us an update on what's happening out there with golf.
Yeah, we're really excited about golf. We talked about it on last week's episode. We had our first match where we could post a competitive score as a team. And I kind of talked to some people to see just how long it's been. And Tom, it's been 6 years since South Harrison was able to put a competitive score on the board in golf. Of course, they've had golfers play and those things, but as far as a team being able to do that, this is the first year. So we did that last week, and we shot a 221, and we're competitive with some teams. And I talked to the kids after the match and said, now that we have some numbers to go by, here are some things we can work on. And we set a goal of trying to get to around 200. We said we'd like to shave off 21 strokes, which was pretty aggressive. But we based that upon the opponent that we were going to face in the next match. To be honest, I didn't know that we would get it, but we did. We played Notre Dame a few days later at Clarksburg Country Club, and we shot a 200. So
nice.
We're improving. The kids are excited. They're having a good time, and we're establishing a program, and that's what we want to do.
Yeah, and when you talk about being able to be competitive as a team, talk a little more about that, because it's about numbers, isn't it? And the program's growing to a point where you can actually put enough kids out there to have team competition rather than just individual scores.
Right. You need to have, in most matches in the regular season, you need to be able to post 4 scores. So you can play 4 golfers, 5 or 6, and what they do is they take the top 4 scores. And so we've not been able to do that for the last 6 years. And so now we have been able to. And then now from a regional standpoint, which will be at the end of the season to try to qualify for states, you play 4 players there and the top 3 scores are taken. So that's what we're talking about when we say have enough to put a competitive score out there. Okay,
so Danny, looking ahead, what's next for golf?
We have another match next week. Again, it's a dual match against Notre Dame. At this time at Bell Meadows. We were actually supposed to play them yesterday evening, and we got rained out. We set that goal of 200 because I had seen in the newspaper that that's what they had shot. And so we got to that number, and when we played them, they shot a 193, so they just edged us out. But we feel really good about this next time we play them on our course. We know that course better. We play it every day. I think we can knock them off, and that's been a school that's been very successful in golf. So that would be a big victory for us if we can get that.
It's a tremendous boost to the program. Congratulations to you, only in your second year as the coach already. Being able to put a competitive squad out there on the golf course, and all of Hawk Nation is excited about that. Just an update on volleyball very briefly, and I know you had an opportunity to catch up with some of the young ladies from the volleyball team. We're going to play those interviews here just shortly. But we are traveling tomorrow down to Morgantown Christian Academy for a varsity-only scrimmage, and I'm excited to see how our girls play against, other competition. We've seen it against ourselves, but it's nice to get out there and what I call a practice against another team. So that's going to take place tomorrow as well.
Yeah, I was very impressed the other evening when I stopped out to do some interviews, and I got to catch a little bit of the practice. And I mentioned it in the interviews, but just the atmosphere that you had there. The girls were focused. They were intense. They were very serious. The communication was excellent. I mean, they were talking. It was a very serious practice. There wasn't goofing off. I mean, these girls, they want to win. And when I talked to them, that was all of their goals, was they want to have a winning season, and they'll mention that in the interviews. But I was very impressed, and you're doing a great job with getting that program established as well.
It's funny because they poke a little fun at me in the interviews, and I had a chance after you interviewed them, I had a chance to listen to them, and I was like, do I have some country twang? I mean, honestly, Danny, I mean, be honest.
I didn't necessarily pick up on it, but at the same time, it's probably because we all have it a little bit, I would say.
Well, they were quick to point that out. And then one of the athletes, apparently I'm not good at math, so I don't know. What are you going to do?
Well, I assume that's something to do with keeping score. And as long as you keep score in your own favor, then that's not too bad of math.
There you go. That's the right way to count, isn't it?
Exactly.
Yeah. So let's break away, Danny, just for a moment, and let's play those interviews. You had a chance to talk with our two seniors, Emily Davis and Haley Woods, and then you also caught up with Savannah Swinsky and Kylie Saltis. So let's play that, and we'll be right back.
I'm here right now with Emily Davis, senior volleyball player here at South Harrison High School. Emily, thanks for taking the time to talk with us.
Thank you for inviting me.
So tell me a little bit about your background with volleyball, how long you've played, and what got you into the sport.
I've been playing since sixth grade year, and I went into sixth grade year, and I really wanted to play a sport, and I just decided to stick with volleyball.
So you played all the way through middle school and then now into high school.
I've played all 7 years.
Yeah. So, I mean, how have you grown as a player during that time?
Before Coach Shears came in, I was really weak, and then once he brought the program up and he started working with everyone really well, it helped a lot.
I got you. So you mentioned Coach Sears, and we talked last week on the show that with him and how he started last year in the program. How do you feel he's impacted the program?
He's impacted the program a lot. We have improved a lot with working harder and together, and we've improved as a team.
What about you have a funny Coach Sears story? I mean, I think we got to take a moment and give him a hard time if we can.
I don't know. We like to pick on him because he says the wrong things all the time, and his math's not good. So
his math's not good.
Yeah, we pick on him all the time about that.
As long as when you're keeping score, it's in your favor, that's a good thing.
That's all that matters.
That's all that matters. What's one of your most fun experiences playing volleyball in your career?
It was either freshman or sophomore year. I went in to serve, and I served almost an entire game.
Wow, that's awesome. So it's your senior season, last one. I know last year you guys, started to build some things. What are your goals coming into this year?
My goal is to have a winning season as a team and to build as a team.
How are things going so far in the preseason practices?
We've improved a lot from last year. Like, we've been practicing, and he came up to me today, and he was like, we got a great team, and we do.
Yeah, I mean, I just came into practice, watched a little bit, and I don't know a lot about volleyball, but just the communication was really good. I saw a lot of focus. It was I feel like it was a serious atmosphere where everyone in there wanted to work hard and get better. Is that kind of normal?
Yeah, that was one thing whenever he first came in, that was his main focus, was us talking, so we don't run into each other and have collisions and such.
Right, I mean, it's in any sport and in anything in life, communication's always a key thing, and so that's good that he's brought that to the team. How about your plans? You already know any plans after high school? It's your senior season.
I am going to go to WVU and major in nurse anesthesia to become a nurse anesthetist.
All right, great. Well, thank you so much for taking the time to sit down with us, and we wish you the best of luck this season.
Thank you.
All right, I'm here with Haley Woods, another senior volleyball player here at South Harrison High School. Haley, thank you for taking the time to talk with us for a minute.
Thank you for letting me.
Absolutely. So it's your senior season. Tell me about kind of your career in volleyball, when you got started, how long you've played.
I started playing volleyball in sixth grade, and I played all 3 years in middle school, and then I didn't play my freshman year. And then I played sophomore, junior, and senior year.
So tell me how you've improved over that time period from when you were in sixth grade.
In sixth grade, it was pretty rough because it's the first time anybody around here gets to play volleyball. But we've improved as a team and personally a lot since then. It really clicks once you get to high school.
Yeah. What do you like the most about volleyball?
Serving.
Serving. Is that your expertise? Is that what you bring to the team?
Yeah.
Have you had a lot of success in that in the past?
Yeah, last year I was over 90% on my serves.
Wow, that's awesome. So we mentioned when I talked with Emily about Coach Sears, and last year was his first year. What has he brought to the program? How has he impacted the team and you as a player?
He works really hard with us, and he does his research, and whenever he started, he didn't really know much about volleyball, but he really took the time and effort into like trying to figure out what would be best for the team.
Tell me about this year's team. Like, what's your expectations coming in, being your final season as a South Harrison Hawk?
I think it's probably going to be one of our best seasons that I've got to play in, because have a lot of returning players, and last year we were really young and didn't have much experience. So I think we'll be doing pretty good.
Any goals for the team that you'd like to see happen?
I'd really like to see us have a winning season, because we haven't really had one recently.
Okay. How about you personally? Any goals?
I'd like to get my serves over 95%.
Yeah. What's normal or average for someone serving? Because I'm not familiar with those percentages.
Probably like 75.
Okay. So that's very high. Obviously, 95%, 90% is very good. Tell me about how things have gone so far in this preseason.
We started off kind of rough and with a bunch of like having to teach the freshmen and stuff. But I think in the last week we've kind of started clicking and getting our rotations and stuff in.
What do you think is the key thing as far as what will help you guys be successful this season?
A good rotation, just figuring out where to put everybody and how to get the best six on the floor at once.
And I noticed this when I came and just got to watch for a couple minutes, but I just felt like it was a very focused practice and everyone was communicating well. You know, what did you think about that?
Yeah, I think we are focusing and communicating a lot more than we used to. Like a couple years ago, it would just be more goofing off and not much focus.
Yeah, it definitely seemed like everyone was, wants to get better, and that means a lot. So again, you're a senior, so last year of high school, do you already have any thoughts or plans for the future?
I want to be an occupational therapist.
Okay. Do you know where you're going to go to school, or are you looking at some places right now?
Well, the only school in the state is WVU.
Okay.
And I don't really want to go out of state.
Gotcha. So it sounds like that's
Yeah.
most likely your choice. Okay. Well, thanks for taking the time to sit down with us and talking, and I wish you the best of luck this season.
Thank you.
All right, I'm now here with Kylie Saltis and Savannah Swinsky, two junior volleyball players here at South Harrison this season. Ladies, thanks for taking the time to talk to us.
Thank you.
So we'll start with you, Kylie. It's your junior season, but tell me a little bit about your background and history in volleyball.
I play setter. I like setting. I like hitting and blocking, so we're going to run a 6-2 this year and use me for both setting when I'm playing back row, and then when I'm in front row, I'm a hit and block.
How long have you played volleyball?
6 years.
Okay. Started middle school?
Started middle school, yeah.
Okay. Savannah, how about you? Tell me a little bit about your history and background.
Well, I actually didn't even get into volleyball until freshman year, and it was thanks to Kylie. She got me into it, and I wasn't too confident in myself, and I came out and did really well, actually, and I've just been pushing myself ever since and keep growing as a player.
What do you think's helped you the most to grow and get better?
Definitely the help of my friends and fellow teammates pushing me and reminding me that mistakes are okay and just to get better every day and keep pushing.
So, Kylie, coming into this season, I know last year you guys with Coach Shear's first season started to build some momentum. What's your expectations this season?
I think we'll be pretty good this season. I think we'll be pretty strong. I think we can win a lot of games this year.
So I mentioned Coach Shears, and I've asked the other players as well, tell me what kind of impact he's made on the program and you personally.
He's made a lot of impact. He's pushed us to become a better team, grow together, basically build up as a team together and play together.
You guys have a funny Coach Shears story or something that you like to give him a hard time about?
I definitely like to give him a hard time about how I mispronounce his words. He's got that country twang to him. I always catch him on everything. He yells at me all the time for not giving him a break about it, but just makes things fun sometimes.
Talk to me a little bit about how practice has been going so far this season.
Practices have looked very good since last year. I mean, just a year's difference is a lot. I mean, these girls have came back and we're a lot better than we were last year. We're working as a team a lot better, and Coach Sears has greatly impacted that from the previous coaches.
What do you think is the key to success this year for you guys? You want to have a winning season. What do you think puts you over the hump to get that?
If we keep pushing together and keep putting hard work in, and Coach Sears keeps pushing us hard.
All right, so obviously it's fun. Talk about the team and the chemistry and, I mean, the enjoyment that you have from it.
We joke around a lot, but we still put in hard work.
And what about a good volleyball memory that you guys have? Each of you, Savannah, what's maybe your favorite volleyball memory from your career?
Definitely freshman year after, I wasn't too confident getting out there the first game and getting a few good hits and really finding a love of the game for me is really what started it all. It was right there.
All right. Kylie?
Knowing that I could play anywhere on the court.
Okay.
I could do whatever Coach asked me to do.
All right, well, ladies, thank you so much for taking the time, and I certainly wish you the best of luck this season.
Thank you.
Thank you.
So, Danny, you had an opportunity again there to speak with those young ladies, and I work with them every day. But it was nice to hear how impressed you were by not only their demeanor, but their willingness and their want to, as far as it pertains to success. They want to win.
I really enjoyed sitting down with them and talking individually. They were very impressive. Again, I just thought I liked their attitude. All of them had the same attitude, talked about wanting a winning season. When I mentioned the atmosphere in practice, they knew exactly what I was talking about. I could tell that was a goal. That was they want that kind of atmosphere. And everybody seems like on the same page. It seemed like there's a good chemistry there. And you and I know that, it's good to have talent and ability, but when you can add chemistry to the mix from a team perspective, then that's when you can really do something special. And I think maybe you're going to have that this year.
Yeah, we hope so. I mean, again, they're working really, really hard. I do think that it's been very challenging for me trying to just narrow down. You put 6 young ladies on the floor, and it's been very difficult to try to narrow down to that rotation. And I think Savannah that mentioned, trying to put everything together, sort of the pieces of the puzzle. And that's what we're trying to do right now. And I know you're well aware of that and how that works, but that's where we are right now. So we'll wait and see how it goes. We're hopeful.
It's a good challenge though to have, right? That you're saying, man, we got to find a spot for this girl. How are we going to work them into the mix? Or wow, these two are really close. And that means you have talent. That means you have some good players, and you'd rather be having those conversations than being like, man, who are we going to put in that spot? So I think on the right path.
Yeah, and I told Coach Leitner many times over the last couple of weeks. I said, man, we've got a good problem. It's challenging to try to figure it out because it really does come down to a lot of fundamentals and everything. But it's a good challenge. It's a good problem to have. We have talent. We have depth. And like I said, we're hopeful. We're going to go out there. They're hungry, and that's a lot of the battle. So, we'll see how it goes.
No question. I wish them all good luck, and I expect to hear great things and look forward to see the results coming forward.
Well, let's shift gears again. I had an opportunity to catch up with Nancy Lips, who is the cheerleading coach at South Harrison High School. And it was a good talk that we had because she was able to talk about the conditioning that goes into preparing these young ladies for competition. In many cases, Danny, they work really, really hard for a really, really long time for one competition. If they don't do well in the regional, they don't go to the states. So it's a lot of work. I was thinking about that as a coach, how difficult that must be. Because we like to get out there and see what our athletes can do. And cheerleading, a lot of times, they have to wait a really long time. And when I say wait, it's not really waiting like they're doing nothing. They're putting a ton of time in. They're working really, really hard.
Cheerleading is just something that I've always, you sit back and you watch, and it is a long season for them. They're very active in all the different sports, plus they're getting ready for their competition. I don't think people realize the amount of work that they put in behind the scenes, like you say, for the competition. And I agree, it's tough it has to be tough as the coach. You're building and you're building and you're building, and then it's all for that one moment. And I know that's got to be a challenge for her.
Coach Lips, Nancy Lips, this is her 4th year as the head coach of the program. We had an opportunity to catch up with her. She talks about her girls and their expectations moving into this upcoming season. I had a chance to catch up with Nancy Lips, the head cheerleading coach at South Harrison High School, and I want to thank you first, Nancy, for taking this opportunity to be a part of our Hawk Nation podcast. Let me ask you first, how many years have you been doing this now?
This is my 4th year here.
4 years. So in 4 years now, you've seen your freshmen come through, their seniors. Talk about that. Talk about the connection you have with your athletes and the returning athletes you have.
I have 2 who have been here for all 4 years with me, Katie Lehman and Abby Downward. We have 4 other seniors this year, so we have a total of 6 seniors this year. Great bunch of kids.
And that connection, I know from coaching that connection that you build with these athletes, I don't know about you, but I start getting a little bit depressed when they're seniors and you know that their time with you is just about over.
Correct. This morning when their parents posted pictures of their first day of school pictures, it was a little tough knowing especially the 2 that have been here all 4 years, and then I have another one who's been here for 3 years. It's pretty tough. It's really tough.
So let's talk about your seniors. Who are your returning seniors? And talk about your expectations as far as their leadership and things moving forward.
We have Katie Lehman returning this year, Abby Downward, Dakota Russell, and then new to the seniors, we have Isaiah Evans and Mackenzie Kovar. And the 3 returning seniors have been a key role in the squad this year. They're a great group of leaders, and they have really high expectations, and I think it's going to be a great year for them.
For those who may not know, when you talk about expectations, when it comes football season and basketball season, the fan base, they see the athletes, the cheerleaders, cheering for the teams. But when you talk about expectations, I'm assuming you're talking about competitions and all the things that you guys involve yourself with. Talk about that for a little bit.
Okay, the expectations I have of them, one, like you said, the basketball games and football games, making sure everyone's good on their sidelines and their hello cheers and things like that. But also with the competition, it is, I know everyone says it's just 2 minutes and 30 seconds, but they do not understand it is a brutal 2 minutes and 30 seconds of nonstop stunting, tumbling, dancing, jumps, all kinds of just a big variety of things, and it is a lot. Plus they have a technical cheer that they have to do beforehand. So they go from a 30 to 45 second cheer, they get about a minute break, and then go straight into the 2 minutes and 30 seconds. And these girls work from August until November, 6 days a week, just to get ready for that one competition.
When I hear you talking about 2 minutes and 30 seconds of tumbling and jumping and all the things you guys do, I hear in there a ton of conditioning. What are the preparation goals leading up to those big competitions?
We do a lot of conditioning. The girls now are running about 10 laps at this point. With each corner they're doing a different exercise, one being sit-ups, one being push-ups, the next one is squats, and then push-ups again to try to build up some strength, because they definitely need it and it's a lot.
So when is that competition? And I'm assuming you have regionals, and then if you qualify, then you're able to move on to states. So talk about the dates and when are those competitions held?
Regionals is always the first Saturday in November. It is November 3rd this year. If we make it onto states, it is December 9th, I believe. It is the second Saturday in December in Charleston. But we have one shot to make it anywhere. We practice for 3 months just to have one shot to get to states. So it's a lot.
Now, I know from being around that you've had some, in your 4 years being here, you've had some success. You've qualified for the states. Did you qualify all 4 years for the states there?
We qualified 3. 2 out of the 3 so far, and then this year they're hoping to make it to states.
I mean, that's pretty good. Now, do you like your chances this year? I know as a basketball coach or as a volleyball coach, I can pretty well tell that I have the talent or the ability to excel and get out of section or out of region. How do you feel, coming into this season?
We do have a lot of new ones this year, but I do feel very confident that the group of kids that we have this year have a very strong work ethic, and they want it really bad. They want to be back at states, especially those 5 seniors. This is their last chance at a state title, and they want to get there. And like I said, they are willing to work. They're willing to do whatever it takes to get there. Great group of kids.
Well, I want to thank you for taking this time to speak with us here on Hawk Nation. Sounds like your goals and your expectations, you're reaching for a state championship. And I know as a coach, I don't know that you coach for any other reason than to be successful.
Correct. And this year, the girls are trying to take on a new role of being a bigger part of the community and doing different things. So that's another thing that I think is very important. Not only are we trying to prepare for states, because that is our ultimate goal, is to win a state title, but I think it's also important that they're a vital role in the community as well this year.
Absolutely. I don't know that anyone could say that any better. Coach, thank you so much.
Thank you.
Again, that was Coach Nancy Lips. She is in her 4th year as the head coach of the South Harrison High School cheerleading squad. And I am just, again, amazed at how much they work from August to November, she said, to prepare for a regional competition that if you don't qualify for states, basically the competitive season is over. And you talk about the conditioning, going from a technical routine into all the things that they do. It's astounding to me. So we wish all of our cheerleaders well and good luck. They are on the sidelines for football games, for basketball games, plus they're preparing for competition. So it's a long, grueling season for them. Danny, I had an opportunity to catch up with Coach Joe Bush. He is the head coach of the boys soccer team. And as we mentioned, they're opening up tonight, the boys and the girls. And, Joe he's a South Harrison graduate. You're going to hear some of that. You can hear his passion for the community and how important it is for him to serve and all the things that he does. But he says in there, this is the opportunity for fans to come out and, see us before, football kicks off and football kind of steals the stage. Danny, they're having a numbers issue. I think he said they have 12 and they put 11 on the field. I know he's trying to build the program, trying to get it moving forward, and it's so difficult when you don't have the numbers. And as you were talking about with golf, listen, it's hard to compete if you don't have depth.
Especially in soccer, right? I mean, and I've got a little bit of experience in soccer. My kids have played it in the past, and I've coached it a little bit. And so, you talk about fielding 11 players, and the clock runs and the game runs continuously. I mean, there is a little bit of a break in there, but it's constant running. It just really is. So to only have one sub, that's really difficult. And so I certainly wish them the best of luck, and maybe they can add some more kids in as they go. But I know he's doing a tremendous job, and the kids are working really hard. And I'd love to see the community, more people go out and watch, because I think a lot of people still don't really know about soccer or don't understand it, so they just kind of stay away from it. But I'm telling you, if you get out there and watch, it's an exciting sport. A lot goes on. There's more to it than what you think. So I encourage people to do it. I know that once my kids were playing and got involved coaching, I grew to love the sport.
And again, I don't know. I'll be the first to say I'm not into all that. I don't know what soccer rules are and how to play the game, and you have had the benefit of your children playing and understanding it a little more. But I think what I took away from talking with him and is just his passion, not only for the kids he's coaching, but for his community. Coach Joe Bush is a servant. He serves in everything that he does. And, from the state police, now moving on to the FBI and all the things that he has accomplished himself, it just makes South Harrison High School proud. It makes Hawk Nation proud. And to have him on the sidelines giving those life lessons to the young athletes, I think is you just can't put a price tag on that, in my opinion.
You definitely can. And he is a Hawk through and through. I knew him as a teenager, worked with him some through youth group at the church I was at that time. And then I watched him play football, and just a tremendous athlete, and just he does love the community. He is a South Harrison Hawk, great pride in that, and I know he's going to instill that in those players as well. So I can't say enough good things about him, and that's the kind of person that you want coaching your kids.
Could not agree more. This is Coach Joe Bush. I'm here with Joe Bush. He is the head boys soccer coach for South Harrison High School. First, I want to thank you, Joe, for spending this time with us and talk a little bit about your team.
Well, thanks, Tom, and thank you to you and Danny Knight as well for putting on this Hawk Nation. I think it's a great forum and an opportunity for our community to hear what's going on here at South Harrison. But about the South Harrison soccer team, it's this year it's an issue with numbers. I think all of our sports here at South Harrison have a numbers issue, but we got 12 boys. It takes 11 on the field, so you can see where I have issues there. I only got one sub, so I got some freshmen and boys that ain't started before that's going to have to step up. That's just where it's got to be. They're going to have to step up and fill those roles.
When you talk about filling roles and numbers issue, do you have any returners, experienced players that you're building around?
I do. I've got 5 seniors, though. 4 of them are returning and 4-year players of mine, with Jake Yates coming out as a senior. But he's very athletic. You're probably aware of Jake, and very athletic, a great addition to the team this year. I got Jaden Smith, he's a great leader, very good with ball work. His speed and agility is there. Xavier Evans is back this year. Glad to have him. I'm looking for him to be a role model and being a leader for the younger guys. But then when it comes down to the freshmen, I got some freshmen that's played before. Dylan Richards, I'm really expecting him to really fill a striker role, try to get some goals out of him. But that's the first thing I told him. You're going to have to step up and take charge out there. I know you're a freshman, but he's just as able to be a captain as senior is.
Yeah, so, I mean, when you have low numbers and high turnover and you're relying on freshmen, it kind of forces them to grow up pretty quick, doesn't it?
It does force them to grow up real quick, but I got very simple rules I expect out of them. I just expect them to respect each other, respect the fan base, respect their teachers, and just be a positive asset to our community out here. And that's really all I expect out of them. And, of course, I have fun. That's what we're about. I told them if they think I want a 20-0 season, they're wrong. Yeah, I'm not going to say that wouldn't be nice, but that's not what it's about. I'm perfectly fine going 0-20 if we're going to have a lot of fun and I can mold these players into great assets to our society, and they can actually learn something, take something with them besides soccer.
Well, you know from working with me that I have the exact same mentality. I think that's absolutely awesome that you're instilling those values in our young men. You said community several times, and for the listening audience, they may or may not know, you are a South Harrison graduate, and so you're another guy on the coaching staff here at the school that bleeds orange and black.
Yeah, you're right. I graduated in 02 from here, and I'll be honest, at the time, soccer, if you'd have told me then I'd be the head coach of a soccer team, I thought you was blowing smoke at me, but I played football, basketball, and baseball when I attended South Harrison, and when I had my children, I got 2 girls, and they got into soccer. They wanted to play soccer. They needed soccer coaches. So I've been coaching now for a little over 12 years, and I just had to pick up the books and read and study, and every great coach steals from other coaches. So I'll be honest, I've stole a few things from other coaches. That's just what great coaches do. And so, yeah, that's how I got into the being a soccer coach. But I'll be honest, there's a few times I've had to move away from the area. I was employed with the state police for about 12 years, and they sent me to Martinsburg for about 6 of that. But when I got a transfer back to Harrison County and was able to have my kids grow up in the same community that I attended school, there's just a sense of pride right here. And there's a lot of pride just in the South Harrison school community, Lost Creek and West Milford, this whole community. There's just a sense of pride that comes with it. So I'm glad to be here and be coaching and being involved in our school system. I really do enjoy that.
I know that I, for one, can say without a doubt that I am very glad that you're a part of what's happening here at South Harrison High School. So on a more personal level, or sticking with the more personal level, I suppose, you are moving into officiating. You started last year, I believe, as a baseball umpire, and now, as I understand, you're going to end up officiating basketball. Talk about that a little bit.
Yeah, again, it's just now I'm being able to be involved more on a broader aspect, not just here at South Harrison. I still get to work with the youth, and it's high school level. I picked up my certification to be a high school baseball umpire. Really enjoyed that. Got several games under my belt this year. And September 9th is my first class to become a high school basketball official. So I'm really looking forward to that. I wanted to do soccer, maybe get me a few more wins, if you know what I mean, but they wouldn't let me become a soccer official because of that reason. But no, I really wouldn't do that if I was a soccer official. But I wouldn't mind doing soccer, but obviously with me being the coach, I had to avoid the soccer sport. So looking forward to the baseball, and between coaching soccer and baseball umpiring and basketball, I'm staying pretty busy, not mentioning my day job.
Yeah, no doubt. Coach, when do you open up? What's the season opener for you guys?
We actually got a game this Friday, 7 p.m. against Willing Central Catholics, 7 p.m. right here, and would love to see some. There's not a high school football, so this is our chance to have a Friday night lights, and I would love to see some people in our community come out. And I know not a whole lot of people understand soccer, but come on out, ask us some questions, just watch us, and see what we're actually doing here with the young men that's on the team out there busting their butt for me.
Yeah, it's much like this podcast. It's all about supporting Hawk Nation. And so if you're out there listening and you have anything going on Friday night, come out and watch this boys soccer team here. Coach, again, I just want to thank you for taking the time. We wish you the absolute best of luck. We'll check back in with you as the season goes on. Is there anything else you'd like to say to Hawk Nation?
I just appreciate everybody's support, not only with the soccer program, but the golf, the volleyball, all athletics and academics. I mean, it's very important, and it takes support from our community to make these things successful. And I'm very thankful for our fan base and our community for that support.
Spoken like a true Hawk. Coach, thank you.
Hey, thank you, sir.
Again, that was Coach Joe Bush, and Danny, it's very clear from hearing his comments that it's important to him to instill, values and character into these young men, even though he's facing much adversity with a lack of depth.
That's one thing about sports that I love is obviously it's fun to compete and you have a good time and you build camaraderie, but there's so many life lessons in sports, and there's so many things to this day that are a part of my character that help me in everyday life. It's stuff that I learned, in sports. It wasn't about the wins or the losses or the statistics, but it really was about the adversity. So he's teaching them the right things, because in life we face adversity, and I can draw back on times in sports, and it's helped me in life. And so these kids are going to have a good time. And there'll be wins and losses, but they're going to learn some things that they'll use for the rest of their lives, and I think that's awesome.
I could not agree more. Ladies and gentlemen, this is a jam-packed program of Hawk Nation. Interview upon interview upon interview. We're going to take a quick break, and when we come back, we're going to shift our gears back to the football field as we are 1 week away from kickoff as Doddridge County's coming to South Harrison High School, Gary Barnett Field, to take on your South Harrison Hawks. We have an interview with Coach Underwood, and we caught up with Coach Jim Dawson. Don't go anywhere. Richards Heating and Air Conditioning for all your heating and cooling needs. Installation and service. Phone 304-884-6400. Located in Jane Lew and serving the South Harrison area. Call Richards Heating and Air Conditioning at 304-884-6400. Visit their webpage at richardsheating.com or find them on Facebook under Richards Heating and Air Conditioning. And welcome back inside Hawk Nation, episode 2, as we continue to bring you all things South Harrison. Currently, we're covering a ton of athletics but we're going to bring you academics. We're going to bring you show choir. We're going to bring you band. We're going to cover it all because we believe our philosophy, Danny, is without a doubt that all students matter. But not only the students, the community matters. The elementary school, the Lost Creek Elementary, West Milford Elementary, and all the things happening in southern Harrison County. Wow, it really is Hawk Nation, isn't it?
It's a great community full of great people, great student athletes. And so to have the opportunity to bring attention to that and give recognition where it's deserved and just bring the community together that much closer, it's a privilege for us to kind of play a role in that and be a part of it.
And we need your help, ladies and gentlemen. If you're out there listening and you own a business or you know someone that does, we need sponsors. We have packages available to cover South Harrison High School football and the podcast. And we want to thank Richards Heating and Cooling especially for jumping on board, seeing the vision, and running with us from the start. It takes business owners like that to really get something like this going. And Danny, my argument is South Harrison deserves it just like anyone else.
There's no doubt about that. This community is as good as any. And we know that, and we want to let everybody know that. And everyone in the community needs to feel that way.
Okay, so we're running out of time as we're pressed up against the clock here. We have 2 interviews left that we want to bring the Hawk Nation tonight. One, we sat down with Coach Underwood, and he let us in on a little secret, which you and I want to talk about before we go off the air. He lets us know who's going to be the quarterback. I realize there's some out there in Hawk Nation that may have already known this. I have known as well, but Coach Underwood hasn't publicly disclosed it. So he does that on Hawk Nation. So I guess we have, what do they call that? Breaking news, or what's the other thing? I can't even think of what that's called, but it's fresh here, public for the first time on Hawk Nation.
Breaking news. That's when you know you've arrived, when you start breaking the news.
I guess. Anyway, we also caught up with Coach Jim Dawson. Now, Coach Dawson started, I think he said, in 2004 as the head football coach at the middle school. And Danny, he's made a bit of a transition as he's moved up to the high school staff as an assistant. He's the quarterback's coach, and we had an opportunity to talk with him, and I would like to bring that interview to you right now. Have an opportunity to sit down with assistant football coach Jim Dawson. The transition from many years at the middle school level, he's now an assistant at the high school level. Coach, first, thank you for taking the time to talk with us here on Hawk Nation, and talk a little bit about the transition from middle school to high school.
Transition has been super easy. By coaching the middle school since 2004, I've been able to, get to know the kids, obviously, and the kids are moving up through the program. So stepping up to the high school when an opportunity came, it just sounded like a sensible thing to do.
Now talk a little bit about your role here on the high school staff and, how it's different from being a head coach.
Well, high school is a little bit different than middle school. Middle school, you got basically a new group of kids coming in every year. High school, it seems like you have those kids that are moving up through the program. They spend 4 years here practicing, obviously getting to learn the system. But this year, being a new system kind of being installed, it's almost like being a head coach, but you're out there coaching every day, different positions, and it's almost like having a new group of kids because you're doing something totally different.
Wow, yeah. Now you're coaching quarterbacks, is that correct?
Yes, coaching quarterbacks and defensive ends.
So Coach Underwood and I discussed that you've kind of narrowed your search down at quarterback position to Jaron Robinson. Talk a little bit about the job Jaron's doing.
Well, Jaron, he's an athlete, number one, which anytime you're trying to move somebody to a different position that they're not used to, if they're an athlete, then they can handle it fairly well. He's a super bright kid. He can handle all the X's and O's, all the different things you throw to him, the terminology, the different skill sets, and he's done a great job right now moving in the quarterback spot and doing a super job executing the offense.
A lot of turnover this year. Obviously, last year was an historic year for South Harrison football, just the amount of talent that the roster had. New coaching staff, a lot of new faces. a lot of new players or players stepping into a role they haven't played in the past. How do you think the players are transitioning as far as this new system and everything that's being thrown at them?
Well, I think one thing, mentioning the staff, it's a fairly new staff. I mean, 2 guys moved up that were, already the varsity coaches last year. And the kids, I think, handled that very easily. And the fact that you're putting in a new system, you got new coaches out there, it's kind of like mixing the old and the new. But I think just the guys working together, being a talented group of kids that did leave, also leaves a little bit of talent left behind.
Well said. Coach Dawson, you're not only the assistant football coach, but you're also the head boys track coach. And we got some exciting news that we're probably going to get our track resurfaced. How exciting is that for you?
That's real exciting, knowing that the school is behind the efforts to resurface the track. That's I believe it's been 13 years since anything's been done to it, and it's been needed. It'll help not only the track team but the community, because we have several people come down and walk and run and participate and in other events that use the track. So I think it's going to be a great thing for the school.
I agree 100%. Well, Coach, thank you for taking the time to be with us. We'll catch back up with you as the season progresses. And then, of course, when track comes around, we'll be talking to you then as well. Thanks so much.
You're welcome, and thanks for having us.
That was Coach Jim Dawson. He is the assistant football coach coaching quarterbacks, and I believe he said defensive ends. And Danny, we also picked up there and talked about how he's the head boys track coach and how excited he is that for the first time in 13 years, the track's going to get a bit of an upgrade.
Yeah, that's very exciting news, and it's definitely something that's needed. 13 years is a long time, and that will add an improvement. And the track team has been very successful over the years, especially the last few years, and they deserve it, and they're going to get it. So we're looking forward to that for the athletes to be able to enjoy that. Yeah,
and and he brought it up as well. It's about the community as well. The community uses that track, and it's just good all the way around. Okay, we're pressed up against the clock here, so we're going to bring you the interview with Coach Chris Underwood. And the word I was looking for, Danny, earlier was exclusive. This is we almost need like some background music. You know what I mean? Like, I don't know. If
we need something for the breaking news exclusive, a little tag, something.
Yes, something. But since we don't have it, well, ladies and gentlemen, you're going to have to settle for what we have, and that is this, a Hawk Nation exclusive. Chris Underwood tells us who's going to be the starting quarterback. And again, a lot of people may have known this, but he's making it public for the first time. He's excited to get things going. And I asked him, Danny, in the interview, I said, I know a lot of people are excited for Friday night, August 24th, but maybe no one's more excited than you. He's been waiting a long time to be a head coach.
No doubt. Anytime you wait for that and then you get your opportunity, I'm sure he's very excited and probably a little bit nervous, a little bit of butterflies, but I'm happy for him. It's a great opportunity at a great school and a great football program. I think he'll do a very good job.
Here's Coach Underwood. I'm here with head football coach Chris Underwood. And, Coach, you had an opportunity. You've got a scrimmage under your belt. You have another scrimmage coming up this evening. Talk a little bit about what you learned after the last scrimmage.
Well, I think the first scrimmage is always a perfect opportunity to gauge where you are, see the things that you need to work on, see the things that look good, and go from there. And I think that's exactly what we did. We saw some things that we needed to improve upon, but that's just the nature of the beast at this time of year. And then we saw things that we liked, so things that we changed, things that we kept the same. That's kind of where we are right now.
And I know you're wanting to keep everything under wraps, obviously, with an August 24th opener against Doddridge County coming up here in just a little over a week. Do you feel like you guys are ready? Are you guys prepared to open up next week?
Yeah, I think we are. We're hungry for the start of the season for sure. I think anytime you come out and beat around on each other for a while, you're ready for an opponent. And, of course, that's why we were eager to play Braxton in the scrimmage. We're eager for Ravenswood tonight in the scrimmage. But I think that all of that eagerness really kind of leads up to that opening day kickoff, and that's what these guys are waiting for, and that's what these guys are really, really hungry for.
In our last podcast, last week's edition, we had the opportunity to talk about a few battles taking place on the field as for positions. One of those positions, obviously a very key position, is the quarterback position. Have you narrowed that down at this point? Anything you want to talk about there?
Yeah, I think we've narrowed it down to a couple of prospects, but really the one that's emerged there is Jaron Robinson, who's really done a good job. Against Braxton County, he really put the ball in places that he needed to. He's seeing the defense the way he should be seeing it, and doing an excellent job there. So very, very proud of the fact that he stepped up in that position.
Is it safe to say you expect him to be the Week 1 starter?
Yeah, I believe so. Don't see any reason why that would change.
Okay, Coach, so we're getting late in the preseason. Season's going to open up, like we said, in about a week. As a matter of fact, a week from today. And how are you guys doing as far as injuries? You guys pretty healthy?
Yeah, overall, we're pretty healthy. We've had a couple little nicks and bruises along the way, typical for football season, but yeah, we're healthy. So that's really a plus going into the season opener.
Talk about your scrimmage you're going to have this evening. Who's your scrimmage against, and what are you hoping to gain from this particular scrimmage?
We scrimmage Ravenswood tonight. They're a quality program. They've been a quality program for years. So it's a nice stepping stone. That's kind of how you use these scrimmages, as preparation for the actual games. Talk to their coach, and both of us kind of want the same thing out of the scrimmage. We want good quality reps where we are facing an opponent, where we just make those strides toward regular season.
I know that in basketball, when I'm coaching in preseason, we have our scrimmages. We have the opportunity to blow a whistle and say, hey, let's stop, let's look at this, let's break this down. I'm not as familiar with the football scrimmages. Is that something you guys do?
Yeah, a lot of times coaches are actually behind the offense, so we can make adjustments. There's a gentleman's agreement between coaches. A lot of times we'll line things back up and walk through it. So scrimmages are just a great time to learn, and they're beneficial in many aspects.
So the boys are excited again 1 week away, but I would imagine there's no one more excited than Chris Underwood, waiting for many years to have his own football program. How excited are you to kick it off on August 24th?
I'm really excited. Like I told you in the last week's podcast, it's something I've been looking forward to my entire life. And now that moment's here and it's approaching, it's those butterflies start rolling when you think about it. Right now we're still in preparation mode, so a lot of my focus is in preparing for Doddridge County, but I cannot wait to get that feeling of that Friday night kickoff atmosphere, that Friday night lights. There's just really nothing better than that for me.
Well, Coach, I think I speak for the entire community when I say we are as well very excited to see you guys kick it off. We want to wish you the best of luck, and we'll catch back up with you next week leading up to your season opener.
Thank you. Thank you for having me, and we'll see you around.
And ladies and gentlemen, there you have it. A Hawk Nation exclusive. Jaron Robinson is going to be the starting quarterback. And I just realized something, by the way, Danny. I said Hawk Nation exclusive.
Yes.
And we aired the Jim Dawson interview before the Coach Underwood interview. And I guess we kind of broke it in that interview. So I dropped the ball on that.
Either way, there's all kinds of exclusive breaking news interviews going on during this episode. And it won't be the last time. You got to check us out every week because you never know what's going to break.
Absolutely. Yeah, like my memory, apparently. Wow. I chopped that to pieces.
we'll break something.
Something will be broken. Ladies and gentlemen, we again just want to thank you so much for all the listens. You know, one thing, Danny, that I really love about like internet radio and podcast is you get statistics, and we had a bunch of listeners in week 1 without really advertising that much or putting the word out.
I think it will grow as well. I mean, we all know that really the best advertising is word of mouth, and the feedback we got was great. And I think people are out there talking about it. So keep spreading the word, and we'll let this thing grow.
Well, I hear the Back in Black music playing, so that must mean that it's time to go. Thank you so much for listening to episode 2 of Hawk Nation. Ladies and gentlemen, we hope to see you out next Friday night at the football game. And if you can't make it, don't worry about it. TD Productions, Danny Knight, and myself will be bringing you all 10 regular season games through Hawk Nation right here. Subscribe on iTunes. Find us on Google Podcast. We're excited. Danny, thanks again.
My pleasure. Look forward to next week.
For Danny Knight, I'm Tom Sears. It's Hawk Nation.